That's. Oh, that was a good one.
This is how we need to start all the meetings.
Yeah,
Everybody is
these are-
I
smiling.
lost my position for a little bit. I'm down the order a little bit now.
So after we bang the gavel, we'll all stand up and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance together, okay? Do you remember how it starts? I pledge allegiance to the flag. And
And you put your hand across it.
put your hand on your heart.
And we turn and face the flag right there too when we say it.
Yep, you gotta look at the flag when you say it. Do they do that at school? Yeah.
Do they hear still? That's awesome. Good.
Yeah, they do here.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I thought that it was out of everywhere.
I'm trying to bring it back. I've heard.
Almost time, 1 minute.
And everyone goes quiet.
You got this. 60 seconds, you can wait.
Let me point out that.
I can just put your.
It's all fun and games.
Where did my daughter go?
She's hanging out there.
Don't bang your head.
I might use that. See you later.
Yeah, it's just light on.
I'm not voting on this.
Gracie, up please. Thank you.
Okay, we ready? Okay, you guys give it a big bang. Okay, now we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, ready?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Well, good, we'll start the meeting out and then we'll let you guys go after we do roll call, okay? Okay, everybody, welcome to Goldendale City Council, a regular meeting for August 5th. Shelley, would you please take roll call?
Steve Johnston,
Here.
Fiona Wheeler. Here. Lauren Meager,
Here.
Ellie Casey,
Here,
Andy Holm,
Here.
and Danielle Clevenance,
here.
and Mylan Walling.
Here. Oh, great. We have a full council and today we have the mayor for the day winners from the Community Day Scavenger Hunt. We have Gracelyn and Gunnar Little Wolf, brother and sister. They were the winners of the big scavenger hunt, so they got the mayor for the day honors today. They got a ride on a fire truck, got some good prizes. Did you have a fun time?
Mhm.
Oh, great. Well, at this time, we'll go ahead and let our mayor for the days go. You're retired now, but come back soon and visit us anytime, okay? All right. Bye. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Okay, great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. All right, well, we'll move on to, oh, thanks for coming. You guys were great. We'll move on to the next on our agenda, the closed public comment. Is there anybody here or on the line that would like to make a public comment? Anybody on the line have their hand up? No? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the we'll move on to the agenda.
Can I make a motion to add this wildlife fuel reduction project landowner agreement to the agenda?
Okay. I have a motion to add the City of Goldendale Observatory Hill Wildlife Fuel Reduction Project landowner agreement to the agenda?
A second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda, adding the Observatory Hill Fuel Reduction Project and the consent agenda. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Abstain.
Oppose? Okay,
I'll abstain.
one abstain.
Maybe I should too, huh?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe I should too.
okay, we have 5 yes and 2 abstain. We'll add that under council business number 5. Okay. I will move on to presentations. We have no presentations. We'll go to no presentations. We'll go to department reports and start with Fire Chief Noah Hall.
Yeah, so we did take the mayor for the day down to the fire station, did a little tour, gave him some goodies. I think they had fun with them, so.
Yes.
So the Bighorn Fire in Bickleton, we had a truck out there for five days, so each one of those were night shifts. We had 2 EMTs out in one of our command vehicles doing, line, EMT stuff in case somebody got hurt. And then we had our attack tender 6131 out there for 2 nights. In total, we're probably gonna be pushing $18,000 of monies we're gonna get from the state. Which is a big help for us, and those firefighters that went out, helped us out a lot with that. So they also get paid, but they get paid through the state, so we don't have to worry about paying them, so it's a little benefit for them to do that as well. So I'm glad to say that we helped out, at the Bighorn Fire.
Yes. Could we have provided more support if we had different equipment or volunteers or anything?
More volunteers, yep. And potentially, I mean, we've got, 3 brush trucks and the attack tender, and so. If we don't have support with roll 7, then we can't send too many people, so a lot of times only 1 brush truck would probably go to that. Roll 7 didn't send anything, and they had her back during that time, so we gotta send a few more out. But yeah, volunteer for the most part.
Well, it's awesome. We had volunteers that were able to commit and go out there.
Yeah, yep.
Thank you.
Great. Anything else, Noah?
I think that's it. I'll
Thank
talk
you.
more later.
Thanks, Chief. Police Chief Mike Smith.
Yeah, not too much tonight. We are still in the process of hiring our last position. We did the final psychology test. They weren't able to do that until 26, I think, of this month. So hopefully we're looking for a start date September 1st. In that first couple weeks of September. Some of you might have been aware of the little scare over the 76. We did have somebody found it looked like explosive device in the outhouse. Turned out it wasn't, but on the caution, error of safety, bomb squad was responding on the Yakima. They came, made sure it was safe. Everything was okay and everything was open back up, so.
Can I have a question on it? Did they think that it was supposed to look like, I mean, did it look like somebody was putting it there so it would look like one? Like a fake?
I think it was just left in a peculiar place. It was actually like a makeshift flashlight. It had a switch on it model. It was a tube, and they sent me pictures, and after my explosive training, it was something that I immediately said, back off, call the bomb squad. We're not, you don't touch something like that to see if it is. In the old days, they grab a stick and poke at it. It's not acceptable these days, being the location it was, they were able to isolate the area without closing the post office or here, that, so it's in a better location than, you see, it's a gas station is dangerous, but where it was located, what it was in, was actually suitable for the area that the officers quarantined, so.
Great. Thank you, Chief. City Administrator Sandy.
So I did contact WCIA for those trainings.
So the do's and don'ts training will be August 19th at 5. And so before the city council meeting, so that'll be about an hour. And then the second WACIA training will be the second Monday, September 9th at 4 o'clock. And that's, I think that one's a 2-hour training. That's the policy training.
Great.
Which one was what?
August 19th.
August 19th with the do's and don'ts, so be it at 5 o'clock before the council meeting. And then the second one is September 9th at 4.
Anything else, Sandy?
And then we scheduled a budget committee meeting for August 19th at 3.
Right.
So.
Great. All right, the only thing I would like to set up an events committee meeting. If we can come up with something to discuss community days next year, come up with a plan and a budget and some work on some organizing. Events committee is Ellie, Myland and Danielle. If we can come up with some time to meet, you know, we can, I can send out an email to y'all later and we can come up with something there unless we wanted to try right now.
Our Monday's pretty well booked,
Yeah,
so, after that, I guess where I am anyway, pretty free. I don't know what,
The 13th of August.
I'm good with that.
13th of August.
okay,
Any time work for everybody?
Anytime that day.
yeah, I guess anytime. For me, I don't know, so we're looking in the afternoon,
Afternoon, maybe 3 o'clock, all right?
That's good.
It'll be a brief meeting.
okay,
We'll just start to put a strategy together on how we're gonna handle community days next year. Great,
So Tuesday, the 13th at 3.
great. Okay, thank you.
Just out of curiosity, will it be multiple days next year or just a single day?
We're gonna work that out. I would like to shoot for at least 2 days. Friday and Saturday would be my preferred, but we'll see what we can come up with.
Look forward to hearing back from that group.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, great. Well, we'll move along to council business. And I'll invite Dustin Conroy up to talk about the FEMA update first.
Sure, so your package, you should have, it's a proposed, ordinance amendment. And that is based on FEMA's review, so FEMA's been working on revising all the floodplain maps for Clicquot County over the last couple of years. They're expecting to adopt that for a letter of adoption sometime in August. And then once that's done, all the cities within the area need to update the ordinances match and be consistent with the FEMA floodplains recommendations. And so they've reviewed the city's ordinance, and I've included in your packet their comments. Review, they've also redlined it with their recommendations. At this time, you guys don't need to take any action. This is mainly just kind of a precursor of what's coming up in the next 6 months. Once they adopt that, then you guys will have to move forward with making those changes to the ordinance. So just kind of where we're at on that.
Great. Thank you, Dustin. Does anybody have any questions?
just a comment, yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot involved here, is there anything? Real changes or any concerns that maybe the city would have or?
I haven't dug into it in that much detail. I read through the changes. I think that ordinance hasn't been updated in some time, so it's mainly just to up speed and cover some additional things. Like I noticed there's one section like about ADUs and things like that, so it's
Yeah. Okay.
but at some point, we'll have to go through more detail and look at their comments and figure out. There's some things that have to be changed and there's other ones that are just recommendations.
Oh, okay.
And so, completely up to the council.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Question.
How much does it impact? Study like this when you have that designation of 50-year or 100-year floodplain. Is that addressed in here? Or is that language even in here?
No, I don't believe that language is in there. It's really more through like flood insurance and, where it's located elevation wise also. There's areas. So I'm not an expert on this, but, so they've gone through and like they modeled all of the little click tab through town. They've changed some of the floodplain areas, increased it in some areas, maybe reduced it a little bit in some areas, but from my quick review of it, it's mostly increase. But it didn't have a whole lot of change because Little Clickitat actually was modeled a number of years ago when they did the first one. I think it was in the 80s, when they actually did a full floodplain study of Little Clickitat through town. And so they actually had pretty good information ahead. I think some of the things that changed were like the bridge down Columbus. That was a previous bottleneck. When that bridge was updated, I think that was in the late 90s, right around 2000. That kind of reduced that pinch point, and maybe changed some elevation slightly. But as far as what you can and can't do, it's kind of I think it's outlined. You can still actually build within floodplains. You just have to do it within, your building has to have proper openings and things to let the water through. And how you impact the floodplain as far as you can't reduce the floodplain area, so you can't go there and place a bunch of fill. But there's still allowable buildings within the floodplain.
Just curious, we've always been used to that 100-year flood.
Yeah.
50-year flood. We had 200-year floods already for 50 years.
Yeah, so the 100-year floods really, the percentage wise, it's supposed to happen like, 2%. It could happen 2 times in 100 years is what it did. And, otherwise it's supposed to be a larger event if it happens more than that. So it's their best modeling. It's the best they can, science, I guess.
I was just curious if that distinction is still used.
It is, yeah.
Okay, should be in there somewhere.
And not so much in this, you'll see it, they've issued new floodplain maps, but they haven't been adopted yet. But they are actually online to review, and so you do have the 100-year floodplain maps. You can go online and look at it.
Oh, thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments concerning the FEMA update?
Where will that responsibility of floodplain administrator be placed? Would that be city administrator or with our new planning code enforcement person? Have we give an idea on that yet?
I do not have an idea on that yet.
Is that the mayor's designation?
Let us know when you have an idea.
I will do.
Thanks.
Great. All right, we'll move along to the 6-year street plan. And Dustin's going to talk about that as well.
So for the 6-year street plan, we sat down with the mayor and Sandy, as well as Doug, and we looked at, this is an update from last year's previous 6-year street plan. So you do a 6-year street plan every year, you update it. And really the purpose of this is for funding purposes when you go out for a grant. A project needs to be within your 6-year street fund for them to fund it. And so we've identified improvements to make on 6 different streets for the next 6 years. And this was done with city staff. There's a TIB grant that is coming due this Friday. And so as part of that grant, it was recommended that we put in for the west side of Darling Street. It's about 2,200 feet. We'll make that our priority for next year. Previously, we put in for Schuster Street, I think the previous 2 years. But it's come to our attention that the high school and school district is looking at doing some stuff with the track and football field potentially. Also, maybe they talked about maybe moving it to another location on their property, or at least they're looking at those options. So this time we didn't think it was right to adjust Schuster Street maybe until we know what their plans are, because that might affect traffic flow on Schuster Street. And so we went with Garland on this. What this plan doesn't show is also, pavement preservation projects, which would be like a chip seal, on roads. And we met with Chris Workman at TIB last week. And he had some recommendations and provided us, spreadsheet with pavement ratings. And so this will be amended, probably next week to include some of those projects as well.
Great. Danielle, yeah.
I just have a quick question for you. So are any of these, is there any other projects that we foresee that could be impacting some of these timeframes that we could maybe, for instance, Pipeline Drive?
Mhm.
Do we need any bridge improvements or anything during that time that we could do them in accordance with each other? That way it would save us money, or we could get another grant that can help with that as well. That way we're not spending money on top of money. We could do it all at once. Or has that been looked at even?
It's been, it was discussed as part of a meeting, not necessarily pipeline though.
Right,
But that is one that it is an old bridge, but that, the other, really the only other bridge that would be looked at would be the one on Mill Street. And there is a project potentially for Mill Street. That bridge is actually almost as wide as the one on Columbus. Driving paths are anyways, it's just the Columbus one actually has additional walking paths on both sides. But I think that one is wide enough to accommodate a road improvement project on Mill Street without replacing the bridge.
so can those types of things be kind of looked at prior to, so that,
Absolutely. yeah.
awesome, thanks.
And anytime that, like, another thing that comes up is right-of-way acquisition,
Mhm.
and that's something that kind of needs to be addressed, beforehand. So yes.
Great, thanks.
Yes, Mylan.
Well, yeah, thank you, Brent. I was told on Mill Street, we're gonna have to have a straight line. We got that creek as we're going around after you start with Mill Street. And we need to correct that first before we can fly or,
So that was my understanding. We've, in meeting with Chris Workman at TIB, he informed us actually that right-of-way acquisition can be funded as part of their grant, or it can be included, proportionately. The only challenge on that is that those, grants are only good for 2 years. And so if, you kind of need to make sure that, you don't have heavy opposition when you do right-of-way acquisition, because otherwise you go through the condemnation process and that can take some time.
yeah,
And so that is one concern they have on any project that they fund with their money is on right-of-way acquisition. They want to make sure that it can still happen within 2 years.
okay. Be great if we could work that out, because we've been talking about this Mill Street for quite some time. I would hate to see it be put on hold and maybe bought down to the bottom again or whatever. Anyway, that's just my concern I had. Yeah, thank you.
Here. Dustin, these chip seal projects, is there a point at which a road is so degraded that chip seal doesn't really help out a lot? That it's gonna come back through in like a short time frame?
They do. So the goal is, honestly, so what causes pavement to fail, right, is moisture getting through the asphalt. And so once you see alligator cracking, significant, and lots of times then the road is past that point. So they recommend doing this chip seal to actually help seal the asphalt again and keep the moisture from penetrating it, getting down below it, you're separated. So TIB, they've been through every 2 years, 4 years. I can't remember. They come through and actually rate all the roads in the city.
Oh.
And you can go to their website and look up their PCR score. And so as part of that, they actually, when we met with Chris, he provided a spreadsheet that coded on it and said, you know, if you're below, let's just say 60, I can't remember looking at it, then they would recommend actually to do a pulverize and reshape, and then like a double shot chip seal. And so that'd be a case where your road's got significant alligator cracking and you might lose it. The chip seal's not going to do much to protect it. The challenge with that is that those roads, they're really not designed for heavy traffic. So like on just an example, like Roosevelt Street, it isn't something right there by the grocery store there, that road's actually has a pretty low pavement rating, but to go in there and do that treatment to it, I'm not sure that would hold because there's quite a bit of traffic and truck turning and that's a truck route, so they don't recommend it in heavy traffic areas, but in lots of residential streets. So, they can bring in a machine where they pulverize everything, grinds it all up, smooths it out, and then you can do a double shot chip seal right out over the top of it without doing, digging everything out and putting in rock base.
And I asked because of that, I noticed Pine Street's on there, which is pretty far gone. So is this current or is this, you said this be updated in about a week? Is that?
Yeah, so we just met with Chris last week and he actually just gave us the updated pavement ratings. And so we're gonna go through and figure out which streets we think we can still do a chip seal on. Another option on, would be a double shot chip seal. So where they do 2 shots of oil and 2 shots of gravel. And so that's kind of like the ones that, you don't want to pulverize and reshape, and just a single shot chip seal won't work. But many times on residential streets, double shot chip seal will last quite a while. I mean, it's a Band-Aid, but you still may get 20 years out of it, which is a significant life for the cost. And they're willing to actually, still pay 90% of that cost.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, well, just following up on what Lauren brought up about Pine Street. It's pretty well shot. Probably be a pretty candidate for the grinding and the double chip seal. But I'd like to bring it back up again, up before, the potential to use an LID on Pine Street. It's also, I think, a good candidate for an LID. Previously, our previous administrator said, well, it's been, the rules have been changed a lot regarding this and that over the years, but I think it'd be worth looking into. I think it might apply on Pine Street. It's a perfect candidate for it. That's what they did on Post Street, was an LID. So that was 25 years ago.
Yeah, probably really more a question for the city. I think the city's the one that handles those LIDs. More than happy to assist in that.
Okay, well,
yeah, I would be interested to see if with the, on that street with the pulverize and reshape and the double shot chip seal would do. Because the traffic volume's so low on that, that's something that it might last, 25 years. And which is, it's quite a while, this, treatment at that cost.
at least I'd give us an option on that particular street.
And the nice thing about that too, doing this method to the TID is it doesn't cost the city but 5% of the project cost to try it. And it doesn't always work, and TID is aware of that as well. And they said, if it doesn't work, it was worth a shot. And then, you may have to do the full reconstruct or set up an LID or something like that in order to fund it.
And I was kind of curious about Northeast High Street. It's got marked for a chip seal there. With that. But this doesn't seem right on that street. There's no curbs, why not an overlay?
And so it's really a cost thing in what TID is willing to pay. I think that an overlay is still an option. It's just when we met with TID, they were pushing, they really feel like a chip seal and double shot chip seal is gonna add significant time to lots of the surfaces, and so that's what they're recommending. Is this, so are you talking between like Pipeline and Columbus?
Yeah.
I've driven that road in a while, I'd have to go and look at it.
It's still in pretty good shape.
Yeah, so that's where something like just a chip seal would work, because all you're trying to do is add life to the existing surface.
Chip seals are so messy though.
I think, and that was part of our conversation with Chris too, and I think, lots of that is in how it's applied and how they finish it. Chip seal isn't, they do the best they can, but, you can end up with bad chip seal with the right oil, the right chips, and it just doesn't work. And And you can come back and try it again. It's just, it has to do with the weather, how quick your oil sets. There's more to it, how it was rolled. And so it can be messy, but, I think if you look at some streets too, after a year, sometimes you don't even notice. A good chip seal that sets well, you almost don't even notice that it's a chip seal a year later. One challenge with the chip seals though, is it is hard on the city equipment because of all the loose rock that gets vacuumed up. But TIB is, they'll allow us to put in funds to rent a sweeper, and cover some of that cost.
Okay, yeah, I know that was a concern, major concern, with the wear and tear on the city equipment.
We're paying for that now, right?
Yep.
I have a question, about, so is that what they keep doing on Academy for it to just keep falling into like? Or does that whole street need to be rebuilt? Cause the Academy, I don't even see it on here, but I know you guys do it almost every year, or it gets done, they do something to it, fill in the big holes.
That must,
Holes, and then it just comes right back.
it hasn't been a project that I've worked on. It might be something that the city, that might be a question for Doug at the city. It might be,
We have a meeting.
yeah, might be city staff that's doing that. I'm not aware of what's being
It
done.
might just been the crack sealing. They just seal up the cracks.
That's what I was curious.
Yeah,
It was
crack
just,
seal.
Chip seal or crack seal, so but it needs more than that. It's,
Yeah, Steve.
Right, now, is Academy the one that runs north and south there by the old Marcus Motel?
I believe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the first 100 block of that is shot.
It's just shot.
It's got a pothole the size of this table.
And I noticed, well, because that's usually my route when I leave Maine and I go,
That's what.
and so when they've done it and it's beautiful and it only lasts 6 months, maybe?
That one.
And then it
block.
always comes back to exactly as bad as it was. So,
Yeah, I think, so the couple blocks south of that, right, there was a street project and that was all reconstructed a few years ago. It's probably been 10 years or 12 years ago now. I think when we did that project, there wasn't really any road base under that road.
thank you.
And so, it's a challenge. That's the way lots of these roads were originally constructed, without
Thank
any
you.
road base under them.
That's what I'm starting to understand that and so is it? I learned a lot at our last meeting, so I'm gonna try to bring that to the table and work with Public Works on this and some of the capital funds that we can maybe get. We'll get it done.
Great. Any other questions or comments about the 6-year street plan? Thank you, Dustin.
Thanks.
I think we're working on is concurrence, to go into the TID application on Dartland Street this Friday. From city council, and, just to make sure that's the application you want us to submit. Friday's the deadline, so.
Okay. Can I get a motion of? Yes, Steve.
It doesn't explain to us, that PCR score.
Yep.
How relative is that to what we're talking about?
That's actually exactly, TID score that they gave the pavement.
Now, the higher the number.
The better the asphalt, yeah. Again, though, so these numbers, we pulled them off maybe even before they updated them. And so I might need to go back and look at these PCR scores. I noticed we're like West Darland in, we show 70.9, but I don't think it's that high. It's less than that. There's like one good block of West Darland, and then the rest of it's in.
And it's got it.
So in TIVs, they do it block by block. And so depending upon which block we clicked on, gives us the score that they rated it.
Okay.
Yeah, this thing when we looked at it in the Parks Committee, but it hasn't been changed.
It hasn't been changed. I didn't think so. It looked awful familiar.
I know, I was like, I don't think anything's been updated on this.
Yeah, so we actually made this before we met with Chris. And so I didn't update it after we met with Chris.
Okay. More discussion. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So for now, we'd like to get a concurrence from the council to proceed. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, at the next meeting, we'll have a public hearing. and a resolution to adopt the 6-year street plan. But for now, we just are looking for a concurrence from the city council to proceed with what Dustin's explained to us. And so if I can,
So they want to do the grant.
yes,
Grant.
yes,
This Friday.
right.
Sure, I'm okay.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
Okay, we have the unanimous consensus. And then, like I said, at the next meeting, we'll have a public hearing and a resolution.
Okay.
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mayor,
Yes,
go back to the FEMA topic and just one quick comment clarification.
okay.
And that is, to correct, Steve, if that's, I mean, adding that floodplain administrator to someone's job description is a major change, it's a set of responsibility, it's gonna take some learning. So if you're gonna change job descriptions, that would actually need to come back before council.
Understood.
So we just wanna make sure we follow the proper procedures protocol.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to next item on the agenda. And that's an airport committee recommendation. So at the last airport committee meeting, they decided that the monthly tie down fees would be beneficial to help the airport function. The suggested rate is $40 per month per plane. They came up with that suggested rate after looking at the typical rates for Washington and Oregon airports. They are also suggesting an overnight tie down donation of $5 to be left in the deposit box on site. So we would need a consensus from the council to start this process. The city will have to add a new chapter in Title 12 of the Goldendale Municipal Code to charge fees at the airport. The deposit box would cost around $1,600 for a wall mount box. Or the boxes on a stand cost around $2,500 to $3,000, plus the cost of new fee signs at the airport. That's just after some preliminary investigation on what those boxes cost. We could look more into it, but that is the recommendation from the airport committee. Yes, Danielle.
Sorry, I have a question. Does that include chalks also, or just tie down chains?
It's just the diamond.
Just tie down.
And as far as, thank you, and as far as the donation for the $5 is. Did you use the word donation because you think we might get more, because it's gonna be a drop box? Or, and it just, if they have a 10, they'll just throw it in, or is there a reason why it wasn't just a certain amount like it would be for a monthly fee?
That's what they suggested, that it's just a donation to use it overnight. That was their suggestion.
Can Mylan, maybe you explain why that was, came to that?
Not really, because I remember they brought that up and it was just kind of vague. They were trying to get at that, the airport just can't have free parking.
Right,
And we're trying to get to, the airport committee trying to make it to where, people are gonna have to start paying a fee to either park a long term or else overnight. And it was, I guess it could be changed. I mean, we can go, I think there's another airport meeting, I believe, on the 15th, I believe. I haven't talked to the chair and maybe we'll bring that up. And maybe we can just say it's a $5 donation instead of, or not donation, just a $5 fee. Guess that would that be the correct wording?
well, there's a difference that, I mean, whether it's correct or not, I'm wanting to know what the reasoning or what you're wanting to get out of
Yeah.
it for it.
Well, that wasn't really explained. And so it's, in fact, we didn't have a meeting the last in July, so.
I was kind of under the impression that the overnight thing would just be kind of on the honor system.
Yeah,
There isn't anybody to police the airport on a day by day thing, but if you're leaving your airplane up there for months and months at a time, the airport committee feels it'd be good to establish that. Yes, Lauren.
Yeah, I guess and in general, for all presentations, I would like to have the background data presented so that we can
Agreed.
understand where this number comes from better. And so I guess, and also, more information about the donation for overnight or, versus a few days or a week, why is a month the threshold? And then, those post 6x6 post deposit boxes that you see at every campground are $1,000. So you just fill out an envelope and
Mhm.
submit it in there. So I'm not sure, maybe they could look at that too. So I guess I'll make a motion that the airport committee bring this back to council with more data about the basis of their findings here and their suggestion, and fill us in on proposals for an overnight tie down fee versus multiple days or a week. Why is the month threshold? That's what I want to know.
I wanted to say something about.
Okay, I do have a motion on the table.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Now I'll open it up for discussion. Theon?
Okay, so yeah, about similar to what Lauren was saying, what if you come in at night, you don't have cash, everybody's using debit cards and everything right now, so how would we do it? It would probably, I mean, if they have cash, they can put it in an envelope. But if they don't, most of the campgrounds now, you can use your cards, and so nobody's gonna be manning it, and nobody's gonna be, I mean, how often are they gonna go pick up money? Daily, weekly, monthly?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, that was never been brought up. And when you speak of cards now at the field bump, well, yes, you can use cards there. In fact, that's all you can use is cards. But it'd be something to come up. I think it's just kind of honor system on the $5, And another thing we need to do out there, the airport needs to do is to get more tie downs. We really don't have that many out there.
And where are they kept?
But the
The
tie down,
actual tie downs?
they're out there right now. And where those airplanes are parked,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's where.
And they have them, I mean, I guess my thing is tie down chains are typically, you hook them to the eye bolt and then you hook them to the plane. Do we have a specific place for this? Cause those can be expensive and they can get rained on and get rusty. Is there a place that they are kept? Because that's gonna be a cost that we incur as well.
We don't, I think the airport doesn't have that. They don't have the tie downs. All they got out there is just the long cable and maybe.
The grounding cable.
Their grounding table, then each pilot, I think, has their own tie down or whatever.
So we wouldn't be letting them use our tie down chains, just the ability to sit there and the grounding cable. Is that correct?
Well, I would assume a pilot would wanna tie his airplane down. If he's,
Not all pilots have tie down chains though, because not everywhere is windy enough to even need them.
Yeah, well, anyway, that's,
I don't know, just
well,
the thoughts.
okay, yeah.
Okay.
Is anybody else, I have a motion and a second. Anybody else have a comment, about the airport fees? No? Okay, we have a motion and a second, basically to take this back to committee. Take this back to the airport committee for more information. Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we'll take that back to committee and get some more information from the airport committee and do some more research on those questions that we have. Okay, we'll move along on council business to capital outlay purchase for fire department. And for this, I'll hand it off to our fire chief, Noah Hall.
Yeah, so the fire department has been needing to replace, we call it our air van. It's a 1984 box van. It was a hand-me-down from the police department. It was, I think it was well used when the police department got it as well.
Brand new.
So,
This last week.
yeah. Long story short, it needs replaced. We've had some engine issues with it. It is overloaded, right now. So it needs to be replaced. We've been looking for different options. Vehicles. My assistant chief, Michael Stelzis, has been looking, and this vehicle, seems to fit the bill with some extra stuff that we like, including the door, that goes from the front all the way to the back. The current one doesn't have that. Maybe a little easier to access, in there. And I don't know if anybody's ever sat in a, van from 1984, bigger guys, can't fit the vehicle, well, longer legged people, I should say. Anyway, so this one would, fix hopefully fix that problem. It is used, it's a 2021 with 25,000 miles. But that's pretty new compared to the one that we've got. And we expect it to last us 15 to 20 years.
I move to approve a capital outlay in the amount of $50,000 for the fire department for the purchase of a 2021 Ford Transit Cutaway.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the capital outlay in the amount of $50,000 for the fire department. Discussion.
My only question is that taller than the current one? It
It
seems
is
like,
the same size.
okay, perfect. I was just gonna, it looks like it's taller, so I was like, is that gonna fit in there?
I didn't mention that, so the door that we would like to put that in, it's got height requirements. So that was a difficult thing, to try to find a vehicle to fit. You're calling a dealer to give measurements, and say, oh yeah, it's about 10 feet. No, I need to know exactly. That's all it is. So anyway, yes, that one will fit. And the plan is painted red. So,
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, we'll move along to the added item on council business. And that is the Observatory Hill Wildfire Fuel Reduction Project Landowner Agreement.
Just wanted to give council a brief update from the conservation district. We've done quite a bit of work up there. There's still a lot of work to be done. I did have a chance to bring a DNR specialist by the project the other day. I was really impressed with the work that's completed so far. But we do need some more support from the city, providing water for just fire prevention. We have some firefighting skids that can be used on site. So we just asking the city to provide water for that. And then also access. There was one road we got access to, and we still need to get that access renewed, but there's some other access roads that will help us be more efficient and be more responsive in that worst case scenario that there was some sort of an ignition. So we're like 3 updates to the contract. One is just updated to Dave Jones, the mayor. And then the change is to have the city provide water for fire prevention for the work up there, and having the city provide keys for access to the access road control. That will help us get the work done and help us be up with the needed.
I can make a motion on this because it's a motion, not a consensus, correct, that you need?
Yeah, this would be a motion, and those changes are one, then the change to noting Dave Jones is on the cover page there under Dave Goldendale. And the other changes are under landowner agrees to. And maybe the second few bullets are taken from the previous contract that the city approved and signed. So just an update to the contract to add those 2 bullets and Dave Jones' name.
Okay, I make a motion to update the City of Goldendale Observatory Hill Wildfire Fuel Reduction Project Landowner Agreement to have Mayor Dave Jones in there now, and to also allow for the agreement for the staff to be able to have access to the gated roads and trails of the City of Goldendale Observatory Hill, and also to provide water for them.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions about that? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
Abstain? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move along to, we have no resolutions or ordinances. We'll move on to, report of officers. And, we'll start with, Mylan Walling.
Well, thank you, Mayor. No, it's good to see the mayors of the day. I'm glad that we have that program, and I think that the kids really enjoy that, and hopefully we can continue that on. So otherwise than that, I think we had a good meeting, and we got a lot accomplished, and I guess that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mylan. Danielle.
Just wanted to say thank you to the fire department and all of the emergency and first responders, including the posse, because they did volunteer out there as well, for the fire. So that's appreciated. Thank you. Please stay safe. Also, I wanted to say that when Fiona and I went to the budget meeting, we learned a lot and we'll be bringing that to our budget committee meeting. And that's all I have. Oh, I
Thank
do look forward to hearing more about the airport information.
Yeah, well, definitely, there's a lot of questions we need to be bringing up, that's for sure. And, we'll bring it up the next meeting, airport meeting.
Thank you, Dana. Andy?
So, since the city helped provide some funding for the Goldendale Gay Pride event, I figured I'd give a little update. On July 20th, we had the event. There was no issues, no protesters. We had security just in case. There was no ambulance calls, no police calls as far as I know. So that was really cool. We had ages 21 and under 86 and over 21 was 223 as of 9 PM of the event. And there was people staying in hotels from Seattle, Walla Walla, Tri-Cities area, and from Portland. So it kind of did its purpose. It did bring people to town. And it was just kind of it was a good event. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Andy. Ellie?
Just one question. Are we still having our council workshop next Monday?
Next Monday at 5:30. That's what I have on my calendar.
Oh, wait, what's that now?
Next Monday.
At the last council workshop that we had, the
Okay,
motion was made to have another one.
An
on the se-
organizational management.
Yeah.
Okay,
On the
so that's-
second Monday of the month,
Well,
which would
I
be the
thought it
12th.
was the 19th.
On my calendar, I have it as the second Monday of the month, which would be August 12th.
The 19th is for it's for the budget meeting.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make that. I'm gonna be out of town from the 9th to the 12th. What time is it?
5:30.
I have 6.
We have 6 on yours.
I have six on it. I thought we were keeping it the same as the,
Same as, okay. I
I
might have
know, what is it
miswrote it.
now? August 12th?
Yeah, I have.
at 6
Yeah,
o'clock.
6, okay, I misspoke. 6 PM,
Okay.
August 12th.
Yeah.
Great. Anything else, Ellie?
Can I zoom in?
That's all I got.
Yes, you can zoom in.
Okay.
Lauren,
No report.
thank you. Fiona,
I just wanted to also thank all the firefighters that have been struggling over all these fires these last few weeks that have been keeping us safe and keeping our friends and families safe. And then also just how grateful I am to have been able to go to this convention or lecture, whatever you call it. Found out a lot of really awesome things that we can do to better ourselves for this work, and I'm excited to share that stuff too. So, and we met a lot of city administrators, city clerks. There were a couple mayors and a couple of city council members there, but it was mostly, so it was neat to learn like what you guys have to deal with. To be honest. But yeah, lots of wonderful tools out there for all of us, and I am so grateful to dip my finger into it. Thank you for spending time.
thanks. Steve,
Oh, just, well, I'd like to thank Public Works for doing the street striping and curb painting.
Yes.
Like
Yep,
those-
looks good.
Very noticeable. And with all this discussion about committee meetings and everything, I'm kind of curious about the ordinance committee. Because a lot of the issues we are dealing with require addressing the ordinances.
yes, I have an update on an ordinance matter when I do my mayor report.
Right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks. Okay, thanks. So like I said, at the last ordinance committee meeting, we were talking about, the chief of police recommended we fix our park camping ordinance. All the members of the ordinance committee, we met, made the recommendations. I did the changes. I put it in all the ordinance committee members' boxes for any further talk. I distributed it to our chief of police and our code enforcement officer. So as soon as I don't hear any feedback about that or any requested changes, we'll get that ordinance made up. Put it through the procedures. We'll have to go through the public input and everything, and we'll get that one taken care of. And then we'll, you're right, we'll move on to the next one. Several ordinances that we have on the books have been brought up as needing some adjustments or changes by, our staff, our chief of police, our building inspector, code enforcement officer, so we'll start tackling those one at a time on that ordinance committee until we get them all taken care of. Great. The other thing I had on I noticed they had a really great event on the courthouse lawn on Saturday, and that was the back to school bash. So the organizers that put that on, just great job. That event's growing more and more, and it really serves a great purpose to distribute school supplies to children in need and give them a fun little event to have before they go back to school. I know our police department had a booth there. I saw some pictures of, and they had bouncy houses and all sorts of stuff. So all the people that organized that back to school bash, just a great job on that. And it's just another great event that we have in Goldendale. And that was all I had. So we'll move on to open public comment. Is there anybody here that would like to make a public comment or on the line?
Roger.
Roger, yes.
Thank you. I just need to catch the names of your mayors for a day so we can get that in the paper properly.
Sure. You ready? It's Grace Lynn. That's GRACELYNN. And Gunner. The little boy's name was Gunner, GUNNER. Their brother and sister, they tag teamed that scavenger hunt and won it, so they both won the Mayor for the Day prize. Their last name is Little Wolf.
Little Wolf, 2 words.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
One word, Little Wolf.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Appreciate that.
okay, thank you, Roger. Anybody else on the line or in person that would like to make a public comment? Nobody has their hands up there?
I have something to say. Am I allowed? Is this only public?
Go right ahead.
All right. I heard there's something going on at the courthouse lawn tomorrow night. It's called National Night Out Event. It's gonna be on the courthouse lawn.
Yes, National Night Out is an organization that's law enforcement, kind of teaming up with State Patrol, Fish and Wildlife, I believe, dispatch gonna bring the drone down for drone
I
demonstration.
got it. I
So,
put in the drum.
yeah, and so that'll be on tomorrow night from 5:30 to 7:30.
Yeah, of course. Says that they'll be providing emergency notification system and preparedness information. And also stuff about volunteering. All right, I just wanted, I almost missed that.
Great, thank you, Sam. Well, hearing no other public comment on the line, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second for adjournment. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, everyone.
Dave, question.
Well, they just had that.
So that brings up, because often we will bring up different events and things that are happening, one or a few of us will